Hello, Internet, and welcome once again to the always online multiplayer gaming podcast brought to you by MMOBomb.com, your home for all things multiplayer related. I'm your host, Mike Byrne, aka magicman. As always, it's Friday. That means at 1 p.m. Eastern here on twitch.tv/MMOBomb. We're, of course, doing the podcast, talking about multiplayer games, our thoughts on things, upcoming things, and some news that maybe makes you go, oh, God, gaming is just screwed, isn't it? If you get a chance, join us live, twitch.tv, chat, hanging out, lots of pre-show, talking about Pee-wee's Big Adventure and Pee-wee's Playhouse. And yeah, I mean, you got to join us for the pre-show and post-show stuff. It's a lot of fun. If you're watching on YouTube, though, listening on iTunes, Spotify, Audible, any of that stuff, thank you so much. Much appreciated. If you give it a like, a subscribe, turn on those notifications, write a review, put a comment down there on YouTube and on MMOBomb. Remember, question of the week and the weekly bombs are your part of the show. Fulfill your obligation. Get down in there in comments and answer everything. Like, that sounds awful, right? Fulfill your obligation. Like, you have to do this. You've clicked on the video. Now do it. You know what? Yeah, you clicked on the video. You know what's up. Do it. Put it in the comments so we can bring it to the next week's show. Ironically, no show next week. I'll be in Las Vegas. But we'll be back the week after. So we'll go over all of your weekly bombs and question of the week answers then. Joining me to talk about some fun stuff in the world of multiplayer gaming today, Troy Blackburn. What's up, Noob Fridge?
I will also not be here next Friday just because I don't want to be.
Because there's no show. No, Troy will be here. He'll sit in this frame for 1 hour saying nothing.
Yes.
And then he'll turn the channel off. Yep.
It'll be fantastic. Most viewers ever.
60 minutes of just the Noob Fridge. Also on the line, he got a break this week from work and is able to join us, Mr. Wilfredo Rivera. What's up, sir?
Hey.
How you been?
Busy. Very, very busy. But I did you just tell everybody, like, forcefully, like a bit of aggression to just, you clicked on the video, now you gotta?
Yeah, because you know what you signed up for.
Yep. Well, you heard the man. This is for managed democracy. You gotta do it.
You know what you signed up for when you clicked play. When you clicked play, you know what you signed up for. Let's get started and talk about some news. So this week, I thought, and I put in the show notes for all the hosts, another kind of like general MMO multiplayer discussion thing. And I asked the hosts to talk about like the worst thing about MMOs. Because over the last few weeks, we've been talking about like various little topics and our opinions on stuff. And so I wanted everybody to bring like the worst thing about MMOs. But when I was typing the show notes, I was like, that's kind of a downer, right? That's like a real downer. And so I added like, what's the worst thing about MMOs, even the ones you love, and how could they be made better, right? So that you take that downer and you make it constructive. Okay, fine. And then I did the show notes, the rest of the show notes, put it all together, sent it to the gang yesterday. Hung out with the family at the Penguins game last night and was thinking this morning, and I was like, I want to do something a little different. So, gents, since I put that in the show notes, I am going to give you a chance to tell me just one of the worst things in MMOs, because you may have prepped a few. So I will do that. But I threw over a list of questions here related to multiplayer gaming and MMOs that I think would be a little more fun to talk about. Just kind of chill, talk about games, have a good time, and then we'll get to some upcoming games midway through the show and hit it off at the end with the weekly bombs and everything. So, Wilfredo, I'm going to start with you, since I did ask you to prep that. What is something in MMOs, it could be specific to a game you like? Like, it's easy to say, oh, monetization, right? Like, you know, something a little more you, like it bothers you in your particular game, or when games do this or whatever. What is it, and how could it be improved?
So I wrote a list, and I realized I had to cut it down because it was going to be like 3 hours worth of stuff. So I'm going to give you the top two.
Okay.
So my biggest pet peeve, like my most major issue, is poorly constructed tutorials on how systems work in a game. And honestly, I gotta say this because I mentioned this before when I reviewed it way back when. Star Trek Online is one of those games that does this poorly.
Yeah, it does. I honestly think, and you know, I'm a Trek guy. I absolutely love Star Trek. I mean, I got one of the questions over there. I'm gonna have to grab something on the side table behind the camera, but yeah, that's always been what I could never stick with it. I know it does apparently some very, very good storytelling, and you know, and all that fun stuff, but I have never been able to stick with that game. One, because the ground combat's just like too junky for me, and the tutorial just like it doesn't. I come out of it and I'm like, I really don't know what I'm doing. I'm gonna go play something else.
That's fair, and I've called it out. Like it's the tutorial itself. I think it's well constructed. Once you get past the tutorial stages, though, that's it. It's like good luck, find your way through this, and it doesn't give you any direction on how to do it. Like I give credit to WoW and games like that, where it's like here's your crafting quest. This way you can understand how that system works, but it doesn't expand upon it. You know, EverQuest has a fairly robust crafting system, and they give you the tutorial on how to get into the game, but it doesn't expand upon it. That's a huge thing for me, and I'm just like, yeah. But my other thing, so small, it's petty, but I think Troy might agree with me. This is specifically to Elder Scrolls Online. Their player housing. Don't give me a chair that I can make that I can't sit in. That drives me nuts. Don't give me furniture I can't use. I have a reason to have that furniture.
Yeah, I could definitely see that. Both of yours seem very easy to fix, by the way. I just want to be able to sit and give me a decent walkthrough at the beginning. Like there's not like a how can you make it better? Wilfredo's got to be like and think out of the box. Pretty basic. To Cal in chat saying lack of overworld challenge or danger in Final Fantasy XIV. I don't even think that's specific to Final Fantasy XIV. There is definitely a severe lack of like open world danger in MMOs these days. Like I will never forget the sneaky runs to Juno in Final Fantasy XI, trying to go like being level 18 or 19, and you're trying to make it from say Sandoria to Juno for the first time, or maybe it's your second character, and you know, look, I just got to get to Juno because then I could do some other stuff, you know, and having to use like sneak and invis and deodorize and to make yourself silent and invisible and not smell, and like because things aggro to different stuff, and you would die. Now, like looking now, Troy, a couple of games do some things about that, right? Like Elder Scrolls Online has its kind of one Tamriel thing, which while you're leveling can make the world a little more dangerous, but it absolutely trivializes the main questing through zones once you've achieved max level and started gaining CP points because it caps out right there.
Yeah.
And so it absolutely becomes trivial once you have any CP points at all. But it can make it a little challenging in some spots, not terribly difficult, but a little challenging here and there. I think actually, Troy, your current favorite MMO probably is the one on the market now, besides like your really hardcore, purposeful hardcore MMOs, just general MMOs. Lotro probably does it the best right now, right? With that whole ability to tune the zone you're walking through and the difficulty of the things you're going to face up against.
Yeah, you've got the ability to choose your difficulty, and you can do anything from it's a little harder than normal landscape difficulty to oh my god, I just got one shot by a standard mob out in the world. So, and there's like 9 or 10 levels that you can choose from, so you can fine tune your and get the difficulty you want. And if Lord of the Rings Online can do it, I don't understand why other games can't do it. If they can do it, then it's definitely something that can be done for sure.
Yeah, I mean that's basically run on what, a TI-83 these days, something like that.
Yeah, right.
So if Lotro can do it, anything can do it. Troy, thing that you hate about, you know, MMOs or your particular MMO that could be changed.
I'm gonna go with something that I'm seeing in a lot of quote unquote newer MMOs, and everybody wants to go old school. And everybody wants to be old school and go back to that nostalgia. And none of them ever hit the nostalgia mark, and none of them ever get that feeling of the old school MMO because that's not going to be recaptured again. And simply updating and being more current and being more up to the times would be better for you. Better looking graphics, better looking combat animations, better world building. Don't go to the old school. We're going to let the players create their own community. Nobody has time to do that anymore. That's not the way players play games nowadays. There are, of course, supporters of those older MMOs who still do that. But as far as a mainstream audience, the time investment that people have for these types of games is a lot less than what it used to be. At least the time they put into them is. So a lot of games want to be the next old school, the next retro. Update your graphics, update your animations. Let's at least be current in the way the game looks and runs. And then maybe some of the systems from old school MMOs would have a chance to thrive, and maybe you'll innovate a little bit going forward with some of that old school stuff.
May not be the most popular example, but that's kind of in line with what Blade and Soul Neo Classic seems to be doing, right? We don't know a ton about exactly what they're doing with Blade and Soul Neo Classic, but we do know that it's, an upgraded engine, it's upgraded visuals. We've had some examples in video and photos of that type of stuff, but they've also talked about updating some of the systems that, players may or may not have really liked in Blade and Soul, and they just kind of dealt with because they liked everything else, and just doing some tweaking. So even though they threw classic on there, right? Old school and classic. Those are the words. Those are the buzzwords in this category.
Yeah.
Even though they threw classic and then they put the Neo on it. So it's like, how can you be both new and classic? I don't get it, but whatever. So that seems to be more the approach that you would be in favor of then. If we're going to go back and kind of restart on a classic type server, but put some work into it, let's do it this way.
Yeah. Yeah, let's at least update some of it a little bit and keep it in line with the way the players play today.
Fair enough. Raging says in chat, I would say MMO developers thinking endgame content is keep killing the same rare mobs that are not rare
New world.
over and over and over, no actual substance.
I'll go talk to those guys over there. We'll figure it out.
So mine is, and don't get me wrong, when I say this, you're gonna think monetization. I'm not talking about monetization, but it's MMORPGs in particular having battle passes. And it doesn't have to do anything. It could be totally free and just, here's 100 levels and you get rewards for doing. I don't like MMORPGs having a battle pass type feature in their game. I don't like that whole fear of missing out thing, that psychological ploy to get you in a game and keep you in a game, and I don't like that at all. And I don't really think it's warranted in a MMORPG. I almost, doesn't mean I like it, but I almost, Wilfredo, understand it in repetition-based gameplay. Your MOBAs, your hero shooters, your games like Rocket League, your those types of things where it is, what are you doing besides going and just having the next match? Okay, here's some rewards to try and get while you're doing it. I still don't like it and don't like the fear of missing out that some companies really do with that stuff, but I hate it in MMORPGs. I'm like, there are so many other ways to make gameplay feel rewarding than just, I gotta play before this stupid battle pass thing goes away. Rose Hoppa, by the way, hanging in chat today. She made the show live. So if you miss Rose, give her a little wave. Head on over to her Twitch channel. Mine is don't let Amazon games handle any MMO, and a lot of people starting to agree. Yeah. Well, here's the other thing, by the way, on the Amazon games front. Troy, do you think they're looking, as total sidebar, do you think they're looking at Throne and Liberty and Blue Protocol right now and going, uh-oh?
Man, they almost have to be at this point because neither one of them are getting good word of mouth coming over as they get ready to head over this direction. And then you got Amazon Games, who, while not directly involved in the development of the games, we've seen it time and time again that when a publisher picks up a title here in the West, they're going to get the flack for things that aren't done well or aren't going well or things that players don't like. So Amazon Games is going to be, getting all the flack and all the, repercussions for all the negativity that surround, Blue Protocol and Throne and Liberty right now.
Ragix says, I don't think Amazon Game Studios is even aware of current gaming markets.
They're not.
Ninja saying, nah, they're probably just seeing money. Yeah, I mean, they're going to definitely see initial money. There is still big buzz here in the West and in other territories for Throne and Liberty and Blue Protocol. I'm not trying to diminish the buzz about both of those games, but just watching, if Throne and Liberty doesn't do well in Korea, that is a red flag. That is like a huge red flag. And it's not collapsing. It has very high Twitch viewership and all that good stuff, but it is already undergoing, server restructuring, and the feedback is kind of lukewarm and player falls. Blue Protocol having kind of the same experience in the East, where it's just not performing the way Bandai Namco expected it to, and things are dragging a little bit. And I'm still eager to get both of them over here and try them out, but yeah, probably a little concerned there. Blue Protocol was pretty... Oh, wait, am I allowed to say that?
Check those notes.
Trying to remember if I'm under NDA still or not. I honestly cannot remember if I am or not. We'll just say that, like, if perchance maybe I ever got a chance to try out Blue Protocol at some point, I might have had fun. I mean, I'm just saying maybe if I played it, like maybe I could imagine a world where I enjoyed what I was doing for the limited time that they may have ever offered people a chance to maybe play.
Switch over to Dragon's Nest. Say it was Dragon's Nest.
Is that? Yeah, I honestly can't remember if my NDA is still up on that game or not. Anyway, maybe. I'm just saying, maybe.
What's a little NDA between friends?
So you just became that developer that used rare, but as maybe. Yeah, he definitely used maybe. I'm not saying I played it or I even liked it if I had played it. Just saying maybe. Maybe. Okay, so I just got some generic. Let's just have some fun today, gang, so that we're not all Debbie Downer on this stuff. So I've just got some general like MMO stuff to give you a chance to talk about some of your favorites, some of your surprises through the years. And keep in mind that these questions, gang, they do not have to be answered like Troy with something you are actively playing right now. Like this could be your entire multiplayer gaming experience. I do ask you to keep it to multiplayer just because of the nature of the podcast. So MMOs, shooters, Overwatch, stuff like that. Yeah, whatever. Multiplayer, gang. That's kind of what we do here on the old MMOBomb. So Troy, I'm going to go to you first. So Wilfredo, you'll get a little extra minute or two to think about this first question. And I just want to know, Troy, the MMO RPG that you can never actually leave. Now, that doesn't mean that you play it every day right now, or that you even play it every 2 or 3 months, but it's the one that every time you're going through your computer to make room, you never, ever delete it. And maybe you play it for a week, and then you don't play it for 6 months. But you just don't have the heart to delete it because you keep poking that MMO every once in a while.
Right now, it's New World. New World stays on my computer, even though I haven't really played it in months now. I log in every once in a while just not to get booted from my guild because I like the people in there. I don't want to get booted from the guild. But yeah, as far as playing it, but I can't just bring myself to delete it yet. I keep holding out hope that it's gonna release something that brings me back into the game and really gets me interested in the game again. But as far
or
as
they
over
just
time,
delay
I don't
a
know
huge patch, whatever.
Yeah. But as far as over time, it's not one that I don't delete from my computer, but it's one I keep reinstalling is Rift, and I keep going back to that game.
Why?
For those nostalgia hits, bro. Those nostalgia hits.
Dude, you and I played Rift for a long time. I love the MMO, but there is not a chance in hell I'm installing that anymore. Come on.
Yeah, it's on my computer right now. I don't spend any money in it. I just play it for free. I'm one level away from hitting what is the current, and has been for a long time.
The
current level cap.
You almost said the current level. It's been the level cap since the game came out, basically. Like, what it had a couple expansions. I know there were level cap raises, but it's forever.
Yeah, I'm level 69. I'm almost level 70. So
Rift was fun. I'm not bashing Rift at all, chat. Troy knows my love for Rift. We used to play with a whole crew of us and just farm hellbug mounts for people for hours, multiple times per week, hours. And then we run dungeons and shit. It is a good MMO. But man, in 2024, they're finally doing server mergers, by the way. We put up a piece on it this week. They're finally, in news that surprised nobody, doing server mergers here in the NA.
I went to one of the servers you're supposed to merge into, and I saw a person in Meridian.
No.
Yes, it was a real person.
It was a gold seller. Stojan in chat saying, someone please delete GTA 5 from my Xbox. Baron Vagabond saying Guild Wars 2, no sub helps too. That's one I do the same thing. It's not always installed, but I do find myself reinstalling that. And then I'm like in the Silver Wastes and I'm like, fuck this. And I shut it off. 14 showing up a lot. Yeah. Tori the Chicken saying Guild Wars 2 as well. What do you got, Wilfredo?
This is a sign of me being that Bethesda fan. Elder Scrolls Online. No matter. Yeah, I just can't. I love the franchise. It's got to stay. It's that simple.
Yeah, I mean, it's easy to say 14 for me, gang, right? Like chat scrolling by saying 14 a lot. But that is, I don't count that because, I actively play it. Like, that is my current main MMO. So, of course, that's the one that I never actually leave because I'm playing it. But if I have to pick, Guild Wars 2 is kind of up there for me. That one keeps getting installed and uninstalled. Not Rift. Sadly. Elder Scrolls Online is probably mine too. That one I occasionally uninstall. It's still installed for Ninja Pandas too. I do occasionally uninstall it, but it always ends up reinstalled. And every time I reinstall it, I'm like, I should never delete this again because your fucking installer is atrocious.
It's part of the reason why.
ESO is such a terrible installer. Oh, if that's the case in Guild Wars 2, you don't play it a lot, but it's installed for decades. Yeah. All right. Well, Fredo, your favorite shooter game, and now don't any of these things that I ask you, by the way, if you're not a fan of the genre generally, like there's one or two coming up that I'm not generally a fan of. I don't care. Give me an answer in the category, something that surprised you. So your favorite multiplayer shooter game, and I'm not limiting this, Wilfredo, to hero shooters versus looter shooters versus this. If you got a gun, I don't care if you're first person or third person, and the primary gameplay is based around having that gun, which one is it for you?
So, thinking about it, there are two games that come to mind. I guess technically could be considered multiplayer because it does have the co-op aspect to it, and that's going to be the Borderlands franchise.
Well, I mean, technically Rift is still multiplayer, but Troy's only saying one person.
It's one other person playing. That counts.
Me and one person is multi, damn it.
That's right. Yeah, definitely Borderlands, and then the other one would actually be Ghost Recon Breakpoint.
Oh, wow. Rip.
Yeah, I know. It's a shame.
No, chat. By the way, chat, you're right. It doesn't, as you can see by this point, it does not have to still exist. It does not have to still exist.
Yeah. I would. Those two games definitely. I love Borderlands because of the goofy humor and stuff like that. I like Ghost Recon because I think there's a good story, and I love the gunsmith option. But yeah, like I was actually going to say at first, Rainbow Six Siege, but I haven't played that game in ages. So yeah, those are the two that I'm sticking with.
And if you're waiting for a sequel on that, forget it. They're just going to keep upgrading what they have, which Troy thought was probably the better move. Probably as long as the systems keep doing what they're going to do. Raging Alcoholic says Firefall. That one comes up all the time, and I never get it because I always have to follow up with which version. Which version of Firefall? Somebody, I don't know who it was Takal. Takal said mine, and it's Division 2. I'm a sucker for live service looter shooters. I'm a sucker for them. Literally, the only reason I ever really stopped playing Destiny, the game that I probably was the best at PvP in my entire life of any PvP game, only because I actively PvP'd enough to know the maps and to know all the shit that you really need to know to be good at it. I was good at the freaking Crucible, but they introduced the season pass when they went free to play, and I thought they had a decent free to play conversion, but it kind of, the game just like went all kinds of downhill for me from there, from Destiny 2. So I'm gonna go with Division 2. One, the huge focus on PvE. Yes, there is PvP in there, but I don't go to those dark sectors. Screw those places. I just go do my PvE, and basically like having shooter dungeons and stuff like that. I'm a sucker for that type of stuff if it's done well. And Division 1 and Division 2 didn't initially do it well. So I'll put the caveat on it of I'm a big fan of the Division series 6 months after each of them launches. 6 months after each of them launches. Go ahead, Troy.
Absolutely valid.
Mine's Firefall. I played with
Which
Raging
version?
Alcoholic. Played with Raging Alcoholic and Endura and B-Flaw and Refried. And we freaking loved the more open world sandboxy version of Firefall. And I loved my Dragonfly. I absolutely love that thing. I would play a Mammoths occasionally, but my Dragonfly was my jam. Go out and just be out in the open world, and events would go off, and I could just drop big healing bombs on people. It was fantastic.
All right. From chat, we're also seeing Tiny Tina's Wonderlands. Yeah, I do enjoy Tiny Tina. Kind of embarrassing. Planet Side 2. Tori the chicken with the Planet Side 2, man. There are some interesting things with Planet Side 2. We still don't know if that damn thing's been sold for sure yet. We think it probably was.
They still didn't confirm that?
We think it may have been sold, but we don't know for sure yet.
You won't know for sure until it sells again. Then it'll be like, oh yeah, by the way.
Yeah, they're probably not revealing it because it's like somebody that's going to come flying back in the news, and they're like, well, no, we didn't sell it to them. We didn't sell it to them. Yeah, Jason was a huge Planet Side 2 guy for a long time. Yeah. All right, well, Fredo, your favorite PvP-based game. Now, again, doesn't have to be a shooter. It could be a brawler, or it could be a sports game. Like, doesn't matter. Doesn't have to exist. There's no caveats on this. Just where the primary gameplay is a PvP gameplay loop of some type.
Okay, so this is simple. This is an easy one. The Tekken franchise.
I mean, I guess technically that's multiplayer.
It is. It has an online component, and I can face multiple people. It's a one-on-one kind of thing, but it is multiplayer. Tekken, there's no question to that. Tekken, it sits at the top. I mean, if I want to get really, really cheesy with it, I would probably say WWE games, but they're kind of like hit and miss. Tekken has always been, like, by and large, well done from start to finish.
Troy?
SMITE, without a doubt. Mine's easy too. Definitely enjoy SMITE, play it. I don't play against bots. I play against people every time I play, except for a couple of friends who only want to play bots, and I only play with them occasionally. So yeah, it's always, and almost always am either playing Arena or Joust. I don't really play Conquest a whole lot, but Arena and Joust is hella fun, and I enjoy having all the different characters to choose from of the MOBA genre, the way they do that, and they've all got their own sort of unique takes. Now I mostly play tanks, so I like the ones who arrive, raise hell, and walk away. That's the kind of tank that I like to play. So SMITE is definitely, without a doubt, my favorite PvP game of all time.
And what do we got going in chat here? Resistance 1 multiplayer on PS3. League of Legends, says Tori, again saying embarrassing. Tori's like, oh, God, stop asking these questions.
At one point in my life, Tori, League of Legends would have been my answer as well.
Ninja Panda says, would you count Mass Effect 3 multiplayer? Sure. I mean, we counted Tekken. Why not? Stojan says Injustice 2. Well, I mean, again, if we counted Tekken, we have to count Injustice 2. Or was it Mass Effect 2? I don't know. I played the first one, absolutely loved it, and then realized when they ripped a bunch out of the second one that I liked in the first one, but most people didn't, I didn't play the rest. Isn't there a new SMITE coming? There absolutely is. SMITE 2 is on its way. And Founders Packs are now on sale. We wrote that up this week. I sent the link to Troy to cover it, and in parentheses, I said, break out your wallet. So he had no clue what it was. I just said, piece number 2 or whatever today is in your email. Break out your wallet. And I just waited. The son of a bitch. Mine doesn't exist anymore.
My wallet is going to be hurting.
Mine doesn't exist anymore. You know, I'm not a huge PvP guy, but my favorite, and I'm not going to count Rocket League. I guess technically that's PvP. And yes, I do quite play that a lot. But for like combat PvP, what you think of when I say PvP, I'm going to go with Spellbreak. For some reason, that game is sad. It's not around anymore. That game, I streamed that so many times with chat, and I was actually pretty damn good at that game. That was where you had the gauntlets. It was basically a PvP battle royale with magic. And you would get the different gauntlets with different elements and obviously gear up and stuff like that where you're running through. I actually really, really enjoyed Spellbreak. I got pretty decent at it. I wasn't like a superstar or anything, but I was usually top 5, top 10 at most, and very much enjoyed it. Not enough to give it money, though. And that's probably why it's not around anymore.
Yeah. That'll do it.
Speaking of Rocket League, I'll go first on this one because that kind of fits the question here for me, like dead on. The multiplayer game that you never would have thought you would like, but you ended up having to play it for some reason, and you just freaking loved it. And that's absolutely going to be Rocket League for me. I never played Rocket League on Steam. The only reason I installed it at all was it went free to play, and I knew Zach Sharps played and had played for a long time, but he was the only person on the MMOBomb staff that played. And at that point, he had stopped doing free-to-play weekly, so he occasionally would appear on the cast and stuff like that. I got to get Zach on. It's been a month or two. And so I didn't want to bug him and be like, hey, do you want to do the first look for this? I was like, you know what? I'll play it and I'll figure it out. So I downloaded it when Epic Game Store, started playing it. And I'm glad Zach did. He ended up offering. He was like, do you want me to do the first look for this? And I was like, actually, that'd be awesome because I know you can do shit in this game that I just can't even comprehend yet. So he did the first look. It's been installed ever since. There isn't a single season battle pass that I don't finish at least level 150. Every single battle pass, as much as I'm not a battle pass guy. So that is absolutely, without question, one of the multiplayer games that I never would have tried if it weren't for MMOBomb, and it's been installed ever since. Go ahead, Troy.
I've got 2. I'll make them quick. The first one was Sector's Edge, which doesn't exist anymore.
Oh, that was
the first
good.
look for that one. Yeah, I did the first look for that one. And I was looking at it, I was like, the graphics aren't all that great. It's voxel based, everything explodes. How much fun can that be? You can't even hide behind cover. And then I got into the game and had an absolute freaking blast. So Sector's Edge was one of mine. And then the other one was Warhaven, that you had me do the first look for.
You're running out of days.
Yeah, I was excited back in the day when For Honor was announced, and then I got my hands on it, and I was like, this just really isn't for me. And so I would have looked at Warhaven and thought, oh, it's For Honor. And when I got into the game from like the first match, I was like, okay, there's some jankiness to this, but I love a lot about this. So Warhaven was my other answer.
What do you got, Wilfredo?
I'm a little embarrassed by it, but not really. Synced. Free game on Steam. A friend of mine was like, hey, you want to play this game Synced? It's free to play. We can jump in. I was like, yeah, sure, why not? And I went into it just going, all right, it'll just be something to kill a few hours with. And then I end up really enjoying myself. I was like, why am I liking this game? It's like, it's just nothing but nonsense, like instant dungeon runs. That's all it is. But it was a lot of fun to play. And I'm a little upset about that because I didn't expect to want to enjoy that game.
Chat saying from Ninja Pen is Heroes of the Storm before it went away. Now I don't know, though. It didn't want to go away. I mean, you can still go play it. Tori the Chicken says Trackmania. I'm the opposite of a car girl. I don't even own a car. But Trackmania. Baron Vagabond saying Guild Wars 2. Guild Wars 2. The multiplayer game you wish was still around, Troy. Could be MMO, could be PV, like any multiplayer game that isn't around anymore, but you like still have nostalgia and would totally be playing it if it were still here. And don't say Warhaven because it's technically still here.
Yeah. Yeah, I've got 3 that I'll just throw out there. One of them's Nosgoth that I always bring up.
Oh, you and Jason.
I love that game. Yeah. Yeah, that was a fun game. Marvel Heroes, would agree with Takal in chat. I would absolutely still be playing. I was addicted to that game about the time that it shut down. And then Firefall, I would add back to that list as well.
Yeah, mine came up in chat. Baron Vagabond already put WildStar in there, so I will add to that list. And I know that there are still technically ways to play this a little bit if you still own the stuff, and I do. But as far as like generally being available, I'm going to go with the original Secret World. I wish it was still a thing and still getting new content. Wilfredo?
So Vagabond hit me up with that one too. WildStar. I don't know how many times I praised that game for being just fun to play. So I'll add on, and I don't know if this qualifies. I mean, I think it qualifies.
I mean, we took
right?
Tekken.
Star Wars Galaxies.
Well, yeah, but wait, why would Star Wars Galaxies not qualify?
Because for a lot of people, they were just like, "Oh yeah, no, it's an MMO," but then they're like, "Well, it died, and now there's private servers." And I'm like, "Yeah, but
oh so you like the private server argument? It still technically exists. Yeah. You could wish for it to be existing in an official capacity still. Yeah, I think that's fair.
Yeah, no, 100%.
I thought you were like questioning the multiplayer aspect of it. I was like, it is definitely multiplayer, friendo. Your favorite MMO or multiplayer game-based collectible piece of clothing, toy, or whatever that you own, Troy?
Oh my God. Probably my Lich King Funko Pop. I bought that during BlizzCon the year after we beat the Lich King and Ice Crown Citadel and Syndragosa and all the shenanigans that went on with Syndragosa before we got to the Lich King. So that one's got a lot of memories for me. That was just a group of folks who came together in a little guild and became friends in real life and took down some of the in-game content of World of Warcraft when it was still relevant. So
neat. Wilfredo?
God, it's pretty obvious for me. It's the Elder Scrolls Collector's Editions for the PS5 when it first launched, with the Mullet Ball statue, the art book, and everything. There's that sits in my trophy case for a reason.
Oh man, now that you said that, I gotta get up for a second. God damn it! Hold on.
Everybody knows that Mike is a physical Andy, and he's got to have
I found it.
Physical versions of whatever.
I wasn't going to say anything Elder Scrolls related because I do have the big ass PC collector's box right back there too. But this was, I don't even remember how long after the game came out, and this might make you a little jealous, Wilfredo, because this is very, very cool. This is the Hero's Guide to the Elder Scrolls Online.
What?
And this is absolutely gorgeous. Got the full map in there.
I hate you so much.
There are some beautiful items in here. So, like, what is this? I honestly haven't opened this in so long. I don't remember all that's in here. So this set consists of tomes from across Tamriel during the Second Era. Each book presents different facets of the world, a trek across the provinces by a group of Nord hunters in honor of the sky goddess Kine, an imperial catalog of weapons and armor used by the great races, and the journal of a wizard's apprentice focusing on his alchemical studies. These books were all brought together for you to experience stories from the realm as you make your own explorations across the Starry Heart. Edition 114 out of 10,000, so it's a serialized thing.
You so much right now.
But like, look at this. These are all like, this is leather bound, and this is like a whole lore thing.
That's gorgeous. Oh, I love that book too. Oh my God.
So there's that, and then I don't know what this is. What do we got over here? We've got, this looks like a little journal with some rough pages. rough-edged pages. Some nice art in there. But yeah, it's like supposedly written by heroes. And then there's a little leather satchel of, I think it's letters back and forth.
This isn't fair.
Yeah. So I always thought this was very, very, very neat. Anyway, there you go. Yeah, I wasn't gonna say anything Elder Scrolls related, but when you did, I was like, I gotta show Wilfredo this. I don't think I've ever shown him this.
You have it, and the jealousy is real. I mean, peanut butter and jelly.
But,
thick.
So here's another one for Wilfredo. This was the one I actually picked. This is the USS Enterprise NCC 1701F in gold. And I love this guy. That's pretty awesome.
Okay, hold on, wait. I got it. Since we're doing that, I got to show you this.
And I also have the gold communicator pin, the Starfleet communicator pin.
This is the Kobayashi Maru. And I just got this for Christmas.
Nice. All right, I do have a couple.
You can get that Heroes Guide on eBay for $279.99.
Is that what it is now? I think it was like 100 and something when I bought it.
Mm.
I don't remember for sure.
There's one complete set on there. Then there's some people just selling like the book and just the map and stuff like that. But there's one complete set for like $300 shipped.
To Cal yelling, nerds.
Yep.
All right, so I have a bunch of other ones here, but I'm only going to give you one because then we'll talk about some upcoming games and we'll get the hell out of here today. So which one did I actually only have 2 questions left. So I'll give you them both. They're short. This one's going to be really short. Troy, the MMO or multiplayer game company that upon announcing a new game will likely get your money with almost no game information.
Oh my God. I don't know that there is one nowadays. Back in the day, it would have been Blizzard.
Yeah, I can
Blizzard
see that.
Blizzard isn't what Blizzard used to be, for sure. So I don't think there is one that fills that niche of I would give them my money no matter what without little to no game information. Just because I don't have company loyalty like that anymore, like I used to. I think we all did at some point.
If I said anything besides Square Enix, I'd probably be lying, and chat would know it. So I'll just go with Square Enix. Go ahead, Wilfredo.
I kind of got to go with Vagabond on this one. ArenaNet. Like, you would think Bethesda, but no.
I mean, ArenaNet does have, when it comes to MMOs, a good track record, right? Like it's a small track record, but they have a solid track record. I can't begrudge you that one. I wish WildStar were still around. The MMO you touched, the last one, Troy, Wilfredo, we'll go to you first. The MMO you touched once, for whatever reason, first look video, a video you were doing, just sitting at home, wanted to try it, whatever, that you touched once and would never, ever touch again. Whether it's here or not, still doesn't matter.
That's awful. God, there's so many. I guess
that's awful. What an awful question, man. I got too many.
Yeah. I'm probably gonna catch hell for this. RuneScape.
Ooh, yeah, you probably are gonna catch hell for that one.
Yeah. The only reason it's not even because it looks terrible. It's just it goes back to what we were talking about at the beginning of the show. The tutorial is bad. So, I lose almost all interest in it. So, that's the one, RuneScape.
Troy?
Mine's ArcAge. Back in launch, the early game experience led you to believe that there was going to be some exciting stuff to get into and do. Then you get into the labor system and the monetization issues and the pay to win and everything wrong with that side of the game. And once I quit, I've never gone back, and I never will go back, regardless of what they say or what they're going to do, regardless of Unchained, even though that's not a thing anymore.
Right.
I will never touch ArcAge again.
No ArcAge 2 for Troy. Tori the Chick in the chat saying my answer is Elder Scrolls Online, which I don't think I'm in the right company to say that. Let me just go ahead and put this big ass book away.
I'm gonna go ahead and hit the old dusty trail.
It'll be time to be hitting the old dusty trail. ArcAge or whatever it's called from Ninja Pandas 2. Mine would have been Revelation Online, but that is closing or has closed. I don't remember if we've hit the date or not. It's about to close if it hasn't already closed. And that's a shame because I honestly thought that I would kind of enjoy that one, but I didn't. I played that like twice for the first look, and I don't even remember if I actually ended up doing the first look. I'd have to go back and check. But the one, so since that doesn't exist anymore, I'm going to give you one that does exist today. Fucking V4 Global, man. Oh my God. Like, that is about a 14-minute first look video that I did where at about the 7-minute mark, I had enough and I just went ape shit on the game for the last 7 minutes. The game, yeah, it was exactly Ninja Pandas. It's my auto game. Yeah. If you have not seen my first look for V4, and it was 2-3 years ago at this point, look up V4 Global MMOBomb and just enjoy. It'll be like 14 minutes of your time. And from about the 6.5-minute mark in, it's just total shit on this game time. Like, I try not to shit on games too hard in first looks. I'll point out things you should know about them, but I lost my mind halfway through that first look, and I was like, fuck it, here we go!
I've got one of those, the Mortal Online 2 first look.
You're going to say that.
This is enough. This is enough.
I have had enough of this. Okay, let's talk about a few things coming out or that were announced this week. Tori said didn't get to say game I want back. It's S4 League. Love that. I think a lot of people are with you on that one. A lot of people. So we got some more new or upcoming games to show you that we've announced, that we covered on the site this week. Remember, MMOBomb.com.
Yep.
MMOBomb.com is the site that pays the bills. If you're watching on YouTube, listening on the other stuff, we very much appreciate that. But make sure you're visiting the site, checking out the articles, and leaving reviews for your fellow gamers on other games on our game pages. Helps out other gamers. We got Goons, Legends, and Mayhem. All of these have articles on the site you can go check out with official trailers and any additional information we already know about. If you like Mario Strikers, which I do, then Goons, Legends, and Mayhem. If you like hockey, which I do just a little bit, my favorite sport, then yeah, you probably want to check this one out from Firestoke and Rage Cure Games. Goons, Legends, and Mayhem it supports 1 to 6 players, has 1v1 all the way up to 3v3. There is PvP, obviously, but there's also PvE modes, including a full story campaign. It's set to launch April 11th on PC, PlayStation 5, and the Xbox Series X. There'll be a Switch version coming later this year, which I think just makes absolute sense. And for the amount of time that I have played Mario Strikers on my Steam Deck, I guarantee I will be playing me some Goons, Troy. This absolutely is making me go, yeah, I want to try this. I absolutely want to try this.
Yeah, and it looks like it's going to be a little more than just a straight up hockey game too. It looks like it's got like different game modes and things like that in it. So I definitely am interested in this one as well. It looks cute. Looks like it could be a lot of fun.
What do you think, Wilfredo? Can we get you on the ice?
I'm down. Like, I totally want to just sit down and play this game. I think me and my fiance would get a kick out of this. Like, we would love this. This would be our like date night game. I mean, currently it's Helldivers 2, but this would be
Helldivers is so good. It's so
yes,
good.
It is.
It's so good. Yeah, I'm looking forward to this one quite a bit. It caught me by surprise when we first got the press release. So I was like, oh, well, that's generally favorable. Let me take a look at this. Next up, we have Seekers of Skyveil. Now, this has been announced a while ago by Elodie Games, but we really haven't seen anything about it. I think we first heard about it like in late September, early October-ish, sometime of last year, where we wrote a story or two about it. This is a extraction game with some MMO elements, with some RPG elements, with some MOBA elements. Yeah, extraction. But is there shooting in it? No. It's not an extraction shooter. So now we're getting an extraction game in a slightly different genre, moving out into the role-playing or the fantasy aesthetic. The way the team describes it is they call it, Troy, a hero-based extraction game with a little bit of RPG elements and MOBA-inspired gameplay. And if you think it looks a little bit like maybe another popular MOBA from Riot Games, that probably makes sense given that a lot of LOD's devs were once Riot staff. So the whole point is you're treasure hunting. You're kind of dropped in the map, find treasure, escape with it. But while you're on the map, you can see indications of other teams, follow their trail to take them out and steal their gear, all that good extraction shooter type stuff wrapped up in a MOBA-esque fantasy package. And when I saw this, I was like, okay, Troy's definitely in on this one. He is definitely in. Am I right?
Yeah, you're right. I'm definitely going to check this one out for sure. You got to get the gameplay right, obviously, first and foremost, and it looks like it's going to be decent. And, it's hard to tell. I haven't played it, obviously. At this point, nobody has, other than developers and maybe some insiders. But it looks like the combat's going to be there. Now, the next question is, what's the reward system look like?
Yeah.
After the extraction, things like that. So, there's a couple of things they're going to have to balance and get right to really have a chance to make a statement in the genre. But it's hard to say extraction and not say shooter afterwards for me. It's always extraction shooter. So I'm gonna have to get used to just saying extraction game, which sounds weird.
Yeah. Wilfredo, are you on board, or is this not your cup of tea?
I'm kind of like 50-50. It's the metagaming that is required for many games like this that I absolutely it's like reading Mandarin. It looks interesting. And I'll definitely give it a looky-loo, but it's definitely not on my I have to play this game this year kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, just like in MOBAs, I do feel like you're kind of right there, right? There is definitely going to be a meta, stronger characters and stronger teams, stronger builds with certain items and stuff like that. If you don't like that type of stuff, and again, there may be tools and systems we're just not aware of that kind of simplify that. A lot of games do offer simplified versions like auto-purchasing items and things like that. But we don't know what's available there yet. But I would imagine there's definitely going to be a little bit of a meta to Seekers of Skyveil. 100%, I am interested, though. Not a MOBA fan, but I can go ahead and be an RPG extraction fan. Let's go ahead and see what happens. So that's 2 for 2 for me, 1 for 2 for Wilfredo. We'll give it a 1.5, and a 2 for 2 for Troy so far. Third one up. Now, I don't have a lot of information on this one yet. This is Brighter Shores. This is going to be a more retro-style fantasy MMORPG for PC and Mac via the Steam platform, set to launch later this year. It's an indie game by Fen Research, and it's been in development apparently for a decade, and promises to deliver a cozy and relaxing atmosphere to the genre. And if you think it looks maybe a little inspired by the old RuneScape, you may be right, considering that Andrew Gower, the creator of RuneScape, is the mind behind Brighter Shores. Gower had this to say about the project. Creating this game has been a real labor of love. At times, it has felt like an insurmountably ambitious task, so it's amazing to finally see it coming together in the way I hoped. I can't wait to see the world full of players and enjoying what we have created. Something else worth noting on Brighter Shores here is that it's going to focus on an inclusive premium pass for players seeking additional quests, adventures, and stories when it comes to the way they're going to handle microtransactions. So you have a little bit of info on what to expect on that front. I'm not sure of this one, Troy. I never got really sucked into RuneScape or RuneScape 2 or RuneScape 3, and some people are already calling this RuneScape 4 in quotes that I've seen on like YouTube and stuff like that, which is kind of cute and makes sense. But that type of MMO, like never really, Tibia, like those types of things, they never got me. I don't know if this one will. But that's not a disparaging comment on what I see. What I see looks like it could be enjoyable and could be exactly you just talked about people going back and trying to do that nostalgia hit type stuff. This looks like it's trying to capitalize on the feel of those games while making it look like those games would be done in a more modern time, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, it definitely looks more updated than something like old school RuneScape for sure. Not trying to go for the look of old school RuneScape, trying to update that a little bit. Probably some combat changes, probably some system updates, things that are more current, more modern. Is it something that I'm going to get my hands on at some point? Yeah, probably. Just because of what we do here for a living. But is this the type of game? I'm with you in the boat of, is this the type of game that really long term hooks me in and keeps me playing the game? Not typically. So, I'm always up for being surprised. I've definitely been surprised, quite often since I've started doing this job. So, sometimes some stuff catches you off guard, and maybe this one does, but typically this one isn't going to be mine to do with as I will.
What do you think of Wilfredo looking at it? I wouldn't be surprised if it came out and it was well done and it became very, very popular. That would not surprise me at all. There is an audience, a sizable audience, for this type of game. But you have to be able to pull them away from games like RuneScape to be successful. Will this do it, and are you interested?
I'm almost completely uninterested.
Really?
I see the appeal. It's very much kind of like Palia in that like appeal of, it seems kind of like it's a lo-fi style game almost, where you don't have to worry about heavy duty stuff and gameplay. It's pretty simple, dumbed down. You can kind of do it probably when you've been infused with some broccoli, if you understand the terminology. But yeah,
I just spit on myself when you said that.
Yeah, this isn't going to do it for me, but it does harken back to what Troy was talking about earlier. So there's going to be success to it. I really believe that.
Yeah.
Just not for me.
SMITE 2, as we mentioned earlier, revealed its founders packs. Troy, what do you got to say on this one?
Oh, well, I think it's to be expected. I like that they're doing the part of the founders packs is get all the gods forever again, because that was one of the best purchases I ever made in the original SMITE was the all gods pack, and everybody that I play with who buys it is like, this is just awesome. I don't have to worry about unlocking gods as it comes along. Years later, you forget about the money you put into it. So, starting at like $29.99, another one $59.99, they'll be having my money at $99.99 for the ultimate god pack for sure. So congratulations, SMITE 1, by the way. The original SMITE earned my loyalty and my money for the sequel on Unreal Engine 5. It looks freaking fantastic. Everything they've shown looks phenomenal so far.
How was this not your company that automatically gets your money? Like, I knew they were going to automatically get your money.
Well, they don't automatically get my money for everything they do.
Oh, fair.
The SMITE title, yes. The title of SMITE, yes, automatically gets my money. Paladins didn't automatically get my money. Other things, the Tribes of Sin and all that stuff didn't get my money.
I'll go next. It's really short for me. I'm not a SMITE player. I'm not going to be a SMITE 2 player. That's not a disparaging comment on the game. I'm just not a MOBA guy, and that happens. You can like what you like. I'll like what I like, and that is okay. What you got, Wilfredo? You buying a Founders Pack?
Absolutely not. I haven't touched SMITE I think I haven't touched SMITE since they dropped the Ninja Turtles, and then that was it. Like I haven't been back. I'm not a MOBA guy. I really haven't been. I used to play Dota way back in the day, and I was just like, this is kind of boring, and the meta's getting much. So yeah, we
got another trailer from Ascendant Infinity. Now this is their first actual gameplay trailer for this adaption shooter. They don't want to call it an extraction shooter. They call it an adaption shooter because of the way they're handling both the maps themselves and the way the maps are destructible / interactive in each match. The fact that you never know exactly where the best lanes for anything or where the best strategy is going to take you on a map that you may be experienced with. Matches are 3v3v3v3, so you got 12 players in a match, and they call this an evolving team-based objective shooter where players must work together to not only overcome other teams, but also the ever-shifting world around them. We talked about this game on a previous cast when they released their first kind of just general advertisement reveal trailer. This is more gameplay, and they are just fully in on the whole 80s aesthetic vibe and costumes that were in the original trailer. I absolutely love it. I'm going to give it a whirl. It's one of those games that I'm I don't expect this to really be for me because of the heavy PvP focus, but there's just a lot going on in the gameplay trailer and stuff that we've seen from them that makes me go, this might just be absurd enough to capture my attention in a game or a genre that generally isn't my type of game or genre, much like Rocket League did. Will it be that game for me? I don't know, but I'm certainly interested, and I love their trailers. Absolutely love their trailers. Troy, you gonna suit up with me here?
I mean, I'm a fan of the 80s aesthetic here. I like the look of the game, the gameplay itself. I don't know that it's going to be for me, but I'm definitely a fan of sort of what they're going for and what they're doing there, and sort of the fun twist they're trying to put on everything, and the comedy and the 80s throwback stuff is really awesome.
It's good when they always have to drop Wilfredo 2 trailers at the same time, a censored and an uncensored version of the trailers.
Yeah, that should give you a hint on something. This is, I don't know why, but this gives you a blend of Apex and Overwatch for me. It looks absolutely appealing. I'll probably give it a shot to see what it's like. I know I'm gonna get smoked, but I don't know. This is definitely one I will try, and we'll see if it hooks me or not.
Fair enough. Ascendant Infinity, if you're looking for information on MMOBomb. Now, these we were gonna things we were gonna talk about, but we're running late because we talked about more fun stuff at the beginning. So I'm just gonna give you these as news hits. Here's your news hits that you may have missed. Final Fantasy XIV, Yoshi P in an interview said he kind of regrets making Final Fantasy XIV a little too comfortable. Talking about the overworld being easier, the main story quest and challenge in that later in the game, and just trying to peel the difficulty back and realizing maybe we went too far with that, because with challenge does come fun. A platformer is only fun if you have the opportunity to fall down the pit and die. Now, what if that actually means changes in Dawn Trail? We'll see. The jury's still out on that, but he said that in an interview. We already mentioned Gamigo announced Rift Shard mergers for you NA players, but you do kind of get to pick your home to a certain extent. So, yay, I guess. Go take a look at the list. There's 3 servers left, and you can go pick. What we don't know is if you don't pick in time, what happens? I have a feeling the decision will be made for you. Warner Brothers Multiverses is coming back out. The McDonald's leaks were... That's what a weird sentence. The McDonald's leaks were correct. The official return of Multiverses in UE5, complete with the promised PvE mode, is scheduled to return on May 28th. And CCP Games, makers of EVE Online, their blockchain game Project Awakening has not gone away. If you are still interested, they're talking all their player empowerment, blockchain technology. It doesn't necessarily mean NFTs. Don't get them confused. It's blockchain more looking at the development side, at least from what they have released to the public. Obviously, we don't have full details, but there's going to be a closed playtest on May 21st if you're looking to get in and take a look at that. On that note, let's slide over and get started with the weekly bombs and get the hell out of here. Wilfredo, you're up, my friend.
I'm doing a double dub bomb today. Big dub bomb to Helldivers 2 and its absolute meteoric success. I am completely into this game. And the bigger, more important dub bomb, happy birthday, Ma.
Aw, happy birthday, Mama Wilfredo. Mama Wilfredo. Mama Rivera.
There you go.
There we go. Mama Wilfredo.
Mama Wilfredo.
Mama Wilfredo. Mama Rivera, happy birthday. Go ahead, Troy.
I'm gonna give a dub bomb to the viewers. I haven't done that in a while. I want to thank you guys for supporting everything that we do here. Tell a phone, tell a friend, bring somebody else along, and we appreciate everything that you guys do for us.
Much obliged. Totally agree. I'm going to give a dub bomb to Yoshi P saying the quiet part out loud about the game not being difficult. Maybe they went a little too far on that, but I'm going to give an A bomb because I don't think it's going to change in a real meaningful way. They might make a harder MSQ quest here and there, but I remain unconvinced that that's going to lead to longer term change. To Cal, I just want you to know that I had your weekly bomb in here, or not your weekly bomb, your comment from YouTube about Warner Brothers doubling down on live service games, and that you think they're correct in doing so. I think we actually, upon reflection, talked about this exact comment on last week's show. So I'm going to skip it in the interest of time at this point, but know that it was in here, and if you want our thoughts on it, I don't disagree with you on anything except your final point. Taking Suicide Squad totally even out of the equation, Warner Brothers does not have a good track record of making a decent live service game. Even if it isn't huge and successful, they just don't make decent live service games yet. That's where my concern is. So Misfit Rain, talking about early access with Midnight Ghost Hunters. 7 Days to Die went into early access, Alpha 1, in December 2013. It's still in early access, Alpha 21, over 10 years. Still one of my most favorite games, though. Yeah, we kind of threw a little flag, a little shade at Midnight Ghost Hunter for the long early access. Then this week, we also had a story of another game coming out after, I think it was 4 years of early access. I'm trying to find where it is. It's it's that hockey game, not the Goons one that we talked about earlier. What is that hockey game, Troy? Man, I can't remember. No, there it is. Slapshot Rebound. That's been in early access for 4 years and is finally coming out. But yeah, Misfit, you got me. 7 Days to Die, if that's all true. I'm not very familiar with the game myself. Not a huge fan. I probably would be, though. I think it's just a time thing that I never got into that one. Troy, go ahead and take the next one.
Kinetic Fetus says, not even joking, the cat meow made me look down at my cat Tyson. It sounded just like him.
Yeah, I accused cat last week. Stojan in chat says, an A-bomb to eFootball 2024. I don't know why I still waste my time with it. I honestly didn't even know it was still up. Like, that was so not well received. Go ahead, Wilfredo.
Corey V. I feel like Dune Awakening is going to become the next Secret World. With Funcom's track record, I see this game dying within a year due to the lack of content and updates. This company doesn't make great games and hasn't since Anarchy Online. They ruined Conan Exiles, and it took them over 2 years to start doing anything with it. I kind of disagree, seeing as though EA was the first publisher who put it out there. But, yeah, no, I mean, Conan Exiles is doing fine.
Baron Vagabond says, A-bomb to Lotro. Hold back, Troy. Somebody hold back, Troy. It won't download through Steam, and I just quit trying. Somebody in chat, when I was making fun of Elder Scrolls Online and their installer, somebody said ESO's installer or Lotro. I don't remember who it was. But, yeah, Lotro's got a pretty bad installer, too. A pretty bad installer, too. Question of the week last week was, what's the best innovation in MMOs through the years for you? And what do you wish was still in MMOs these days that isn't anymore? Justsumi says, the best innovation in MMOs, in my opinion, is instanced dungeons and raids. They've reshaped the MMORPG genre and introduced new layers of depth to PvE gameplay. Having said that, I also enjoy world bosses thrown into the mix. I dislike the fact that modern MMOs have abandoned the original design philosophy that prioritized player interactions and community building. Rather, they prioritize streamlined gameplay and gimmicky mechanics that may appear deep, but mainly serve to keep players engaged in an endless chase of rewards. I feel like I could have written that. Just sue me. I am literally right on board with you. Question of the week this week, it's dealer's choice. It's dealer's choice, because we talked about so much today at the top of the show. Originally was, what's the worst part about MMOs, even the ones you love? and how could they be made better. But if you want to talk about your favorite MMO or multiplayer game, real life collectible or piece of clothing you have, or your favorite game you wish were still around, or the MMO that keeps drawing you back in, if you want to pick any of those, totally fine with it. I'll bring them to the next show. Remember, no show next Friday, but we will be back the following week. Wilfredo, it's always a pleasure having you, my friend. Until the next time you're here, where can everybody find you?
You can come check me over at Twitter. I still call it Twitter.
Yeah, the world does.
Yeah, I think most people
it's
do.
Twitter. Damien X Marius. Just come to Twitter.
Troy?
Twitch.tv/NoobFridge. Been streaming Lord of the Rings online for the past couple of weeks. I'd appreciate it if you would give me a follow. Come hang out and come say hi and chat. It's nice to have people to talk to and chat. That's what makes streaming fun.
Yeah, you actually got it to install. I'm amazed. I'm Mike Byrne. You can follow me right there at magicman1. But more importantly, follow at MMOBomb, and you'll know about all the news, articles, first look videos, interviews, giveaways, and podcasts and as we post them. Until next time, gang, stay safe. And we'll see you on the servers. Later.